Hello, this is JR playing Oxygen Not Included, and I'm back on my mission to find out what it's like to get the Carnivore Achievement, starting off with Bionic Dupes. So I've got 6 Bionic Dupes, and they are largely staying alive thanks to this hydrogen vent sitting right here, this laboratory asteroid. There are 3 things I'm concerned about with this hydrogen vent, even though it is keeping us alive, because I'm consuming this hydrogen, sending that down here, and that's feeding these power bank chargers, which is awesome. But number of problems. First of all, there can be injury, and I have had to treat a dupe at the end of the last episode because of the extreme heat that comes from here. The other issue is just with the heat itself that could affect some machinery. I've got this gas pump. Thankfully, I made this out of gold amalgam, but if things get too hot, that will eventually break down, as well as just general heat in the overall base will start to bleed down from the top of our living area. Not going to be great, but probably the biggest threat is once this goes off. If I have not found an alternate source of hydrogen, then I can't keep these guys alive. So we're going to first deal with the first problem, which is the occupational hazard. Reason for that is it's just so easy to address. Simply dig this out, make this area inaccessible. Actually, maybe do this instead. So we just want to isolate this hydrogen vent so no one can actually walk across it, which was what was happening last time. Once we've got this, then we will address the alternate power source issue. Okay, so there's that. So the next thing we want to do with the hydrogen vent is find an alternate source, and I think the most likely candidate is to be right here. We've got a Saturn critter trap. Now I've got to remember not to plant these if I want to get the Locavore achievement as well, but we've got some wild forms. In fact, we've got 2 additional down there. Now the dupe that's here likes to be alone. Does not have the ability to dig through abyssalite, though it won't take them too long to be able to upgrade to that skill. I'm going to take the time now to activate our 2 teleportation equipment, because once I eventually do get down here and can build a hydrogen pump, we'll need a mechanism to send it back to this world over here. So I'm going to go over and tell Motherboard to go do a teleportation mission for us. Now that they're here, we will teleport them. We'll make sure we activate each of these teleportation equipments. While Motherboard does that, just cleaning the air up a little bit on this asteroid, plus getting a path open down here to access the teleportation equipment, because we actually haven't found that over on this asteroid. And Motherboard activating the supply output. I did make a special rule over here, just telling the dupes, only bionic dupes, just because there's lots of carbon dioxide. The normal dupes probably not going to do that well. Alright, with that, let's send our researching dupe back, because that's all I really had them over here for. Awesome job, buddy. Oh, haha. And did not plan that well at all. Okay, well, fair enough. Make this the priority so that Motherboard has a way to get back. Oh, and I have to decide if I take on another dupe or not. With nearly 150,000 calories, I think we are safe to take on another dupe. So this is Hammer. That'll help us set up our base with more builders. Let's just go over and make sure that we've got a path out for Motherboard to be able to escape. And, oh, I was just about to think I can assign all the builder boosters that I accidentally created last time to Hammer, but Hammer's a normal dupe. Last time I accidentally set our construction booster on infinite, and we've got way too many of these construction boosters. But anyways, I have our first mechatronics engineering booster, so that's going to be awesome. We also have sink here who has 4 ranching boosters, and I will decide, maybe I'll give this to, who is our dupe that's going to do a lot of the, yeah, we'll give that to Bite, take away this, and give them mechatronics engineering, so that is a thing. And we'll go down here, and Shift is on a very important project to make sure that we can get access to the teleportation equipment so I can send hydrogen back. This buffer starts digging a ladder, going down. I am up here looking at some of these deodorizers, and that's cleaning the air. But I realized a 4th problem with this hydrogen vent, which is too much hydrogen, and that could ultimately start to make it not so breathable, particularly for the normal dupes. It also is not great on their skin. So the first thing we're going to do is open up this area for construction, put in a storage area for excess hydrogen. So here is going to be the storage location for hydrogen. Temporarily, we'll have to create a vacuum inside this little area. Throw that right there. Surround it with some tiling. We're going to put some liquid down here. We've got 2 gas vents going out the bottom. Actually, if I had brought this up a little bit easier, I wouldn't need to create a vacuum because it'd already be in hydrogen. Though it might be a little more difficult to, well, it might be hydrogen by the time we're done. Reason I didn't build this up is because these guys don't like working in hydrogen-based area. Okay, so hydrogen is currently going in. Don't actually want that just yet. Water being dropped off. And at this point, we've got so much hydrogen, I don't think we're going to have to vent this out. We've got a little bit of oxygen here, but I'm wondering if this is going to push it out. No, it will not. Might actually be easier in this case to actually take this out instead, make a tile. And then reconstruct it. Right, so that has gotten rid of that. And we'll just patch this back up. And then I think we are good. Just check for any remaining material we want to take out before we finish or seal this off. See a little bit of sandstone, metal, fish that out. And we'll seal this up like that. Guess we're not going to need this after all because this guy produces so much hydrogen. Though, shouldn't complain. That's why we are still alive today. Or at this cycle anyway. Alright, let's push this in. This is our inline at the top, outline at the bottom. And just verify this is all working as expected. So if we are in need of hydrogen, it goes out that way. Priority, otherwise it starts to go down here. Perfect. Well, there is our hydrogen storage. Now that we got that storage area for hydrogen, next goal is to access the supply teleporter output so that we can receive some hydrogen eventually from the little asteroid. Bringing in another dupe, this is Chop, who's going to do some of the cooking. So I would like to turn some of the meat that we're eventually going to get from these eggs to barbecue meat. A little cold area down here to work in. Only letting these dupes in. I should see motherboard here. Supply output here soon. And where is motherboard? Because that should give us the ability, we can actually start the piping. It's going to go from here out. This will be hydrogen line. So our teleportation equipment is now active. While that hydrogen line's going in on the main world, this dupe here is setting up a double liquid airlock so that we can get vacuum in between, and a pump that's ultimately going to take all this hydrogen. Next thing we got to focus in on, though, is the fact that we are very low on water, at least where we're currently pumping it. So we'll take this little thing out right here. Just going to dump that water down. Perfect. With more water sitting here, next thing I'm doing is setting up another pump just to have this ready by the time this water is gone. So we're going to set this up. We're also going to build another one over here, both powering these pumps and converging all the lines right at the bottom of the base. And we'll push water up to feed everything that needs to needs water on our base, including our electrolyzer and our supercomputer. And then hammer putting in the next pump. With all these extra water pumps, I figure now is the time to make a washroom. So we'll dig this area out. We'll put the piping in first and put in several latrines and sinks. We're going to store some of that polluted water that comes out here in this liquid reservoir, but it's not going to be long before I decide to process that instead. And our storage spot for polluted water. Now trying to rip down the outhouses. Not only can we put in latrines in our wash basins, but we're going to put in 2 showers as well. And just do a quick check, but our washroom is complete. With the washroom ready, I'm now looking at processing some of the polluted water, and specifically want to get rid of food poisoning. And also choosing not to get any more dupes at this point, or at least a little bit, till we stabilize a bit in terms of how much food we have in terms of meat. Which is actually a very nice thing with having the Bionic Dupes here, especially if you're going for the Locavore achievement. You don't need to worry too much about food early on. Just survive off of the muck root that you found. But I am worried about water, so what this is going to do, we're not only going to be able to get water back from the showers, but we'll also get back the polluted water that has come from creating some gear bomb, which is a big deal. So we've got 3 liquid reservoirs. We're going to be storing this area in chlorine. We're going to be controlling the timing essentially of liquid being loaded in these 3 liquid reservoirs to make sure all the polluted water that comes out of this no longer has any food poisoning. Automation is the next part of this. I'm gonna get 6 of these clock sensors controlling when we can put liquid in and when we can send liquid out of these liquid reservoirs. We need some power up here. Down on this side we don't. These are optional. Mechanized airlocks. I'll go around, configure all of these for the appropriate settings. Trying to get this area to be a vacuum, but we're having a little bit of a power issue, so we're going to go down here now. Put in a second transformer. With this transformer online, I'm going to hook this up to serve the bottom of the base, where I've got our oxygen or carbon dioxide pump and some water pumps. And everything else can go up. Hopefully that will help. Seems to be running better now. Next part of this puzzle is picking up a little chlorine to put in our area. We're going to be treating polluted water, so we're going to pump that in here. Do some filtering. Looks like we need a little ladder to get across fully. Going to be looking for, obviously, our chlorine gas. And now that we've got this, I will plug this in. And the chlorine gas going inside. Don't really need a lot, to be honest. Let's just make sure that we've got some. Oh yeah, we definitely have some. And we've got a vacuum inside here, which is good. And connect this right here. Eventually, we will have chlorine inside this little zone. While these guys are doing this, I'll just show off the numbers that I put in here. Basically, this chamber, this water is going to go in, load on first third of the day. It's going to sit in here for the second third of the day, and it will go out, be drained out on the last third. And the others work exact same, except for their offset by a little bit. So that's how that whole setup is going to go. Let's go back and see if we've got chlorine on the way, and we do. Well, with that, then I can take out our equipment right down here. Chlorine. Now that we get some chlorine in here, it is time to get our piping together. So obviously we're going to take the polluted water with germs that are located here and go up and into one of these chambers. That's going to ultimately kill the germs. And then once that's the case, we'll put it through one of these 2 water sieves. And we're going to have a line go here and merge into our water connection. I'm going to have this set to consume water that's recycled at priority. Still not quite ready for the next dupe. Oh, pip eggs, that's nice. Okay. Next thing I'm doing is bringing down heavy watt wire. It's going to visit these 2 pumps, be able to get rid of this transformer, but the main thing is I want to get a metal refinery, and I want to connect to a heavy watt wire system, so figure might as well do this just before we invest with a metal refinery area. Oh, have we touched something that we were not supposed to? Okay, yep. That should not have been. I should have cut that right here while we're doing this section. Dupe over here has been busy. We're going to get a liquid airlock. This is going to keep the cold on this side and the warmer temperature on this side. I also should have a door to make sure that pip doesn't go to this very cold area. or walk into one of these Saturn critter traps as well. I'm going to vacuum in here, so this is going to go. Over on this area, I have just installed this little bottle drainer where we're going to send polluted water into our water treatment area. Currently, we've got polluted water sitting here. Germs being killed. Germs are killed. Excellent. So next thing after that, then, we will get our metal refinery together. It's a little bit of a polluted area, so we're going to clean this as we go. And also just realizing I forgot to run the wiring to the actual pump. There need another hydrogen pump over in this area. And there is our pump that's going to feed our metal refinery. Just one more wiring. And I don't have that plugged in somewheres. Oh. Probably should not have gotten rid of that just yet. Could really use some of that metal that we're going to be making in the metal refinery over here. So what I've done is I put a path for this electrical circuit to visit this conveyor loader, and then I'll send some copper over to that world. Seems like we need an adjustment here. The critters that get picked up are actually being dropped off here, and, well, that's not accessible for anyone to actually do anything with. So we'll do a little change here. We'll take out this tile and this tile. Move this guy over by one. And get rid of this one. And see if that fixes the problem. That change, I'm putting in 2 new electrolyzers, one down here and one up here. Right now the oxygen is good, but could be a lot better lower here, so having this electrolyzer further down I think would be a very good thing. That electrolyzer is running, and so is this one now. Next thing I'm doing is setting this area up here for Dracos. I'm not going to actually be encouraging eggs, but rather just being able to get at their scales. Already trapped one in here, which is super nice, but I've got this little drop-off spot for others. We should see our sharing station be used soon. Hey, look at that. a little bit of reed fiber on the ground. I'm now wanting an exosuit forge. It's taking Sync a bit, I guess, because they don't have many of the builders. In fact, Sync, what do you have equipped? Oh, yeah, the ranching booster. You are here to ranch above all else. So, you know what? Maybe I will get you to go do something else. You probably have a ranch to attend to. Apparently not. Awesome, so we can start making some Atmos suits. With an Atmos suit, I will want an area to pump in some oxygen into some gas piping. So make a specialized electrolyzer with 2 pumps underneath to do that. Looking to detect oxygen, obviously. Let's go slow. Oh no, that's in the breathable gas category. We're going to be taking a gas pipe all the way over here so that we can get to the oil biome without taking damage. So we've got this set up now. Should turn this pump off when we say get 20% full. Let's just double check what we've got. Yes, just pure oxygen. Everything else venting off to the side. So we're going to deliver that oxygen over here. We'll want an Atmosuit dock. Put that in right there. We just need a gas bridge right here. I think we are in business in the oil biome. We got Shift using our Atmos suit. Doing a little bit of digging down here. Beginning into the oil biome. Building a pump out of gold amalgam, obviously. So this is going to be a one-man show, but while one dupe is over here doing this little bit of construction, the rest of the team are installing an insulated line that's going to lead to this new oil refinery. Just a little bit more and we will have our pump running. A little bit of metal and some Atmos suits that have been brought over here. Figure installing an Atmos suit checkpoint would be nice. But we're not going to use the oxygen from this world. Instead, I'm going to build a line that goes all the way to this teleportation equipment, connecting into our oxygen line. And let's go check our crude oil line. That is still 2 wires from being complete. Oh. And the pipe is blocked. Okay, what are we missing? Something must be... little bridge to get across on the final stretch. The crude oil line that's going to go right here. And we also need wiring, it looks like. And oxygen is on the way. Let's check how things are doing over here. Also set up. We'll deliver a suit. And hopefully see some oxygen arrive. And there it is. And we've got our first petroleum. I think I'm going to finish off on creating a stable, or at least trying to, in this little zone designed for the Dracos. And I think I'll just need to shrink the size down by, just 2 tiles. Boom and boom should do it, technically. And this is the point I realized we were going for 96, not 120. And it looks like we have formed a stable. So I should see someone bringing up one of the Dracos to be dropped off. There's the first one. And they've got a food source. And Sync is doing their job. Alright, where have we made it to? Cycle 46. Been pretty much just focusing on surviving a little more long term by getting recycling our water. Obviously, we've done some stuff with our hydrogen vent. In fact, I think the only thing we have left that we started with our hydrogen vent is we got to deal with the heat. And that's still an issue. Currently close to 50 degrees at the top. But some of the stuff I've been doing is getting us the ability to actually do the cooling, including a little bit of petroleum I planned on having. We've got a metal refinery now. We can get some oxygen. Actually, let's go over. Visit this guy. I think we've even have our first hydrogen source over on this asteroid. So yeah, there we are. Alright, well that is it for today. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you next time. I suspect in the next episode I'll have the Carnivore Achievement. Oh, and somebody has been hiding from me for a little bit.